like feeling the buzz, feeling the arty vibe, and enjoying being in the room with them. I mean, isn't that, it's their aura. I mean, there's all kinds of Beatle aura happening here, like with the White Album. And I do think like it's like we can't see the forest through the trees here, man. A lot of people feel like the Beatles' White Album is better experienced rather than merely listened to, and I agree with that. I've always felt like this album is a masterpiece, a wonderful work of art that represents an incredible time in their lives. John, Paul, George, and Ringo, they were at an inflection point where everything was changing and nothing was going to be the same again. I mean, this album right here is different from anything that they'd done before or after. I mean, it's non-conforming, it's eclectic. It's compelling, it's disquieting, it's weird, and it's messy and beautiful. Just like any work of art, like it speaks to you in a certain way. Maybe it makes you feel something. I mean, that's the point of art. It's there to make you feel something and maybe even to get under your skin a little bit and maybe push your buttons and maybe get you outside of your comfort zone. And maybe you're there, maybe it leaves you asking questions, man. And that's the White Album right there in a nutshell. It's all of those things and more. It is the most controversial. It is the most thought-provoking. It is the one that stands out from all of the other albums. I mean, for crying out loud, look at it for Pete's sake. I mean, it's a double album, and there's nothing here on the cover except Beatles kind of like off kilter, right? I mean, and this is the Beatles, I think, at their most creative and artistic best. And sometimes I think we forget that they are, creative artists, like at heart. I mean, they've always been hanging around with artists, right from the very beginning, like with, Stewart and Jurgen and Astrid and Klaus, and then all the way up into like Robert Fraser, John Dunbar, Yoko, Peter Asher and Jane Asher, as well as like Peter Blake, and then the Fool Collective, and then you go on with like Ravi Shankar, and they go to India, and they've got all these other artistic creative types, and with Ringo hanging around with actors, etc., they're definitely creative artists. And again, they don't just make music and write songs and sing, they can draw, they can paint, they can write, and they can act, and they can plant a garden and paint their houses and create this fairy tale castle. So they're super duper creative. And I think by the time they got to India, a lot of their creativity was being like squished. Obviously, this was all backed up, just like with George Harrison, like with his All Things Must Pass album, like everything is backed up and then you get free and then boom, out it all comes here. They were in this big open space and all these creative types with less pressure around them. They needed to kind of get back to basics. They needed to get out of that box and never go back into it again. I don't think they knew that's exactly what was happening, but man, that's what happened. And they're telling us all about it here. This art piece right here, where, they don't really have to answer our questions because this is about them. And they're still asking questions themselves. They're just expressing themselves. This is what happened, and this is what I'm feeling, and we're having fun, and this is for us. And we don't need to make it be this perfectly produced album like everything that we've done before. We don't have to do that, okay? Where just about every track on these albums could be a single. That's not what's happening here, man. It's kind of loose. It's a little bit loose. Some of it feels kind of live and a little all over the place on some of them. And they leave a lot of fun stuff in there, like screams and shouts, and like Paul on Obladi Oblada, like some of the, he says some of the lines wrong on there. And then Ringo, you've got like blisters on my fingers, and they leave that wine bottle. On the George Harrison, the end of his song, Long, 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 they leave that weird sound, like the wine bottle vibrating on top of the amp, and all kinds of other stuff. They leave in there. It's all part of the fun. It's all these artistic flourishes because it's for them. We think this is funny. Let's just do that. Okay, we don't want to take ourselves too seriously. And they're not editing or they're not censoring themselves. They're putting it all out there, man. And I think that's fantastic that they're doing that because they're being honest with us. They're telling us all about it, man. It's unfiltered. And I think we are shortchanging ourselves if we really put this under a microscope, because, I've tried, I've tried to listen to this like over and over again and listen to the Esher demos and the outtakes and, all this stuff and read about it, etc., and find out as much as you can about the Beatles and the White Album. And I think we all know what happens in. Your questions are not all answered. All it does is lead to more questions, man, because there's all these layers, there's all this depth in all the Beatles stories. I mean, that's just That's just how it is. We're never going to find out everything. So I suggest that we just take this album like at face value and just experience. Because the Beatles, you know what's happening here? Is they're inviting us in. They're saying, come and join us here in 1968, here in the year where, they went to India and everything changed, and then they come back and they do this wonderful e-show demos, and they give us the White Album. They do the Mad Day Out, and they record Hey Jude, and they appear on the David Frost show, and they do all that stuff, and they're doing all these different things there. That's a wonderful year of change and creativity and expression, and they've invited us in to this little party that's happening with all these weird songs, etc. It's like we are there, and we really don't know what's going on. But like all these arty people, John, Paul, George, and Ringo, they're having a party and they're talking amongst themselves and speaking their own language, and we're not quite getting it. And I think we're wasting our time trying to understand it. I think we're wasting our time to really get it, what exactly that they're saying. I think we're just supposed to experience it and just enjoy being in the room with them and, taking on just taking it at face value. The Beatles aren't trying to change the world or say anything profound here. They're just trying to be them. All they're trying to do here is just say, everybody's got something to hide except for me and my monkey. Like, happiness is a warm gun. Why don't we do it in the road? That's all they're saying. That's all it is to it. And just like the song Back in the USSR is just fun. Honey Pie is just a fun song. Same with Martha, My Dear. This is just for them, for their own pleasure, for their own enjoyment. These are these artists like expressing themselves in their own unique individual way. It's a gift, man. It's a party. So sit down, relax, and enjoy it, man. And don't ask questions. Just experience it. My advice, definitely just go to the party and have fun. And wear your groovy clothes, man. Wear your groovy clothes so you can fit in. It's my advice. Thank you so much for being here with me today. I really and truly appreciate it. And until next time, peace. Love one another. Take care. Be in that party. Just kind of watch them smoking their cigarettes or whatever and talking and laughing. And it's an experience. It's a happening thing, man. Okay, and they've invited us in